All right, we are on. So the last session of 2024. So if you're tuning in, thank you again. Okay. So this is our last one for the year, and then we will continue this in the new year and do another full year of analysis and just making sure that you as a real estate investor are making the best, wisest decision that you can with the funds that you've got to grow your real estate portfolio. So my name is Hung Lu. I am with Cash Property. And on today's Money Matter session, we are going to be talking about emergency funds. Okay, this has been an ongoing debate about how to handle emergency funds with investors, with financial advisors, and accountants. And so I'm happy to share this session with everybody because I'd like to keep the debate going. Okay, so before you go and implement what I'm going to share with you, please definitely go and talk to your accountant advisors, financial advisors, other real estate investors, and see how other people are handling their emergency funds. Okay, I'm not going to give a spoiler alert by telling you what I think about emergency funds right now. I'm going to save that when I get into the Excel sheets. Okay, so before we go into the analysis on emergency funds, I do have a big shout out to our sponsor for today's session is Time Marketing and Consultants. So this is Thank You Media. So if you see the logo, and at some point I'll get a logo and share it. Oh, I can actually share my screen. Why don't I do that? Okay, so this is, let's see here, Time Marketing Consultants. And if you are not familiar with who they are, this is their website on Facebook, and you can definitely join them on Facebook. That's how I them. But also, I am a great believer in the CEO of Time, who is Michael Bridgman. Okay, Michael was one of my business coaches for a couple of years. And I love working with Michael because he is so down to earth, very honest, and his abundance mindset really helped me get past my traditional money story and into a new way of thinking about wealth and generational wealth and what I'm doing in real estate. Okay, so if you want to take your social media, if you want to grow your business and do it through really awesome strategic content, Michael and Time, thank you, media, will help you get there. So if you want to find more, find out more about Michael and Time, join their Content to Cash training session. It's online, it's completely free right now. Okay, join the group, and Michael basically walks you through on how to promote, how to take advantage of social media and do it very strategically, saving time, saving lots of money, saving a lot of headaches, okay, in the process. Okay, so I will include this in the link in the chat for this Money Matter session. Okay, so this is Michael, this is with Time. Okay, he also has, or they also have this social media calendar that you can use to sort of map out your entire year, be very strategic and plan it out. By doing this, you're going to be very efficient because keep in mind, 20% of everything you do generates 80% of the outcome that you want. So if you can be very strategic about this, you'll save a lot of time and effort. Okay, so that is our sponsor for today for Money Matters. So thank you, Time. Thank you, Michael. All right, so let's jump right into the Excel sheet for today. So let's see here. Okay, so today's topic is on emergency funds. And if you don't know what emergency funds are, then you definitely need to have a talk with myself or with a financial advisor. So an emergency fund is basically cash that you have set aside to cover you for rainy days, for when you lose a job, when something very unexpected comes up, sickness in the family. Okay. So this is not a savings account. This is not an investment account. This is money you set aside and you don't touch it no matter what, unless it's an emergency. So I had a client one time ask me, okay, Hung, you know what? I'm carrying a balance on my credit card and the credit card's charging me 22%. but I've got this amount in my emergency fund. Can't I just go into my emergency fund and pay that off, right? The initial reaction is no, do not tap into your emergency fund to pay off a credit card debt. Okay, an emergency fund is specifically for a death in the family, for when you lose your job, for some it it has to be a major emergency where you really need to tap into this fund. If you're carrying a balance on your credit card, that is not an emergency. That is just bad consumerism. That is bad money management. Okay. So then you just buckle down for a couple of months, figure out how to make some extra cash flow, figure out where you could maybe decrease your expenses, increase your income to leverage, and then pay off your credit card. You don't touch your emergency fund just because you've overspent on your credit card. Okay, so let's go into the emergency fund calculation here, and I'll talk you through how I think about emergency fund as an investor. So, just a disclaimer here again. Please definitely go talk to another person about this. The way I handle my emergency fund is not the way everybody should be doing it. It's not the right risk management for a lot of people. Okay, so just putting that disclaimer out there again. Okay, so here's the calculation here. So I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so usually an emergency fund is 3 months of whatever your monthly expenses are. Okay, and we all have different monthly expenses. So I'm just using a monthly expense here of $7,000. Okay, this is food, rent, car expenses, any extracurricular activity, anything that you need to cover for you and your family so that you guys can live the lifestyle that you want. Okay. So this $7,000 changes for everybody. Okay. Like for some people, rent in Vancouver or Ontario, you're already paying 3,000 bucks or 4,000 bucks for rent. Okay. So then you have your food, your car, gas, mortgage payments, all, taxes, insurance, all of that stuff lumped into this. Okay. So this is your expenses. Now, you might be thinking, well, for my emergency fund, it should just be whatever my income is times 3 months, right? No, because your income is your income. The way you need to use your emergency fund is to cover your living. This is how much you need to be able to pay out to make your ends meet for X amount of months while you are going through a job loss or some sickness or something like that, until you can get a new job, until you can get back on your feet. Okay. So we're looking at your expenses, not your income. Okay. So two very different numbers there. Now I'm using a 3 month emergency fund here. Some people like to use six. Okay. At one point, I was carrying enough for 12 months to cover all of my expenses because I wanted to make sure that I had enough. IBM carries almost, I think, 2 years of their expenses. So that means 2 years of being able to cover all the salary and all their overhead to make sure that no matter what happens, they never go under. Okay, that is pretty impressive. So let's run the numbers for 3 months. This spreadsheet is available. If anybody wants it, just reach out to me and I will make this spreadsheet available to you. Or you could build your own. It's quite easy. Okay, so 3 months, 3 months times $7,000. So the emergency fund that you need is 21,000. This is just three times your 7,000 for $21,000. Okay, if you increase your number of months to 6 months, then it goes up to 42,000. Okay, you may be asking, well, Hong, isn't it better to have more emergency fund than not a whole lot? Okay, no. Okay, and I'm going to show you why. There's a happy medium that you want to have. If you go for 5 years of emergency fund, there's lost opportunity cost. There's money that you could be making with funds in your emergency fund that you're not utilizing. So you're not utilizing the cash that you have as best as you can. And I'm going to show you one of the ways that I use the money that I have to optimize my returns. Okay. So what I'm suggesting here, as a minimum, 3 months of an emergency fund, max 12 months at the most. Anything over 12 months, you're not being efficient with your money. Okay. So now the thing that I want to point out here is that as an investor, if you have access to a HELOC, then you may want to consider having zero emergency fund and sitting in cash and rely on your HELOC as your emergency fund. Okay. A HELOC is tied to your house as a collateral usually, and the interest rates is, prime plus 1 or 2% usually. Okay. So if you never touch your HELOC for the emergency fund, you don't have to pay for that for that access of cash. Okay. The reason for doing that is because now you freed up $20,000. You freed up $40,000 because this emergency cash, liquid cash, you can go and deploy that to go and do something else that gives you a return. Okay. So I've hinted right there. My belief in emergency fund is not to do an emergency fund. My belief is to have your emergency fund available as a HELOC. Okay, so let's just say though you do the cash, and let's just say we go back to the 3 months. Okay, so now you're going to build up, save up $21,000. Okay, as an emergency fund. For some people, you can do this within 6 months. Once your 6 months is done, you've already saved up $21,000. For some people, they save about $1,000 a month. So really, you're saving almost 2 years just to be able to save this emergency fund. Okay, so you do need to consider what is your saving per month and how long is it going to take you to save this money. Okay, so now let's just say you never touch your emergency fund for 4 years. Like when I was working as an engineer, I never touched any emergency fund ever, regardless if it was physical cash or if it was in a HELOC. So that was like 18 years of not having to touch an emergency fund. So, which I'm really lucky to be able to do that. So if you're in that same position, what I'm saying may resonate quite a bit with you and something to think about. Okay, so now let's just run this example with 4 years. Okay, you don't need to touch your emergency fund for 4 years. So right now, if you're lucky, you can get a GIC, maybe a very high interest bank savings account for 5% a year. What that means is in that 4 years, okay, you're going to make $4,000 in interest. Okay, so that's not very much. Okay, so the way to calculate that is the 4 years times the 5% times the emergency fund amount. Okay, so the other way to say that is take your 21,000 times 5%. So that's your 1 year's interest, and then you're going to times that by 4 years. Okay, so if I change this 4 to a 1, it's $1,000. So you take that times the number of years that you don't touch your emergency fund. So in this case, we're saying 4 years. So that's why it's 4,000. Okay, so you're going to make $1,000 in interest if you can find a high interest GIC or savings account. And this is assuming that you've already saved the 21,000. Okay, now you could put your 1,000 every single month into a high savings account until you get your 21 and then move it over to a GIC. Yes, you can do that. Okay, the interest though is still going to be pretty minimum. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is rather than setting 21, like saving $1,000 every single month and then dumping that into your emergency fund and potentially, even if you don't touch your fund for 10 years, making $10,000. Okay, so what I'm suggesting is you go and put this money, the 21,000, either into an investment or put it against your existing mortgage, pay down your mortgage, okay? Grow your HELOC, okay? Now, this only works if you have a HELOC, okay? If you don't have a HELOC, then you need to reposition your properties and get a HELOC, okay? Now, this is also assuming that you have a property, okay? Which as an investor, hopefully you have a real estate property to get the HELOC, okay? So if you need help on getting the HELOC, reach out to me, I can help you with that. If you need to help on getting a property, well, reach out to me. I can help you with that too. Okay, so now if you don't have a property and you don't have the HELOC, okay, then doing the liquid cash and saving every single month until you can get that is then highly recommended because we all need some sort of access to cash for emergencies when we get laid off or something bad knocks us off of our feet and we need to take a break from work. Okay, so this is the idea around not having an emergency fund. Okay, so the emergency fund is your HELOC. So I'm going to go now to the second spreadsheet. Okay, so what you are seeing now on the screen is the mortgage calculator that I use. Now, this is something that I built out, so don't let all the crazy numbers throw you off here. So I like using this because this is how I can show you if you have a mortgage, okay, and let's just say it's 500,000 for the mortgage. I'm just going to go back to this tab here and adjust the interest rate here. So I'm going to go to 4% here. Because those of us who are lucky are dealing with a 4% mortgage rate. You know what? I'm actually going to increase that because I want to make it as realistic as possible. So, and then I'm going to turn this to 25. So there are some new regulations coming out about a 30 to 20, sorry, about changing your amortization to from 25 to 30. Okay, that's not part of this conversation. So what I've done is I've increased the let's see here, the interest rate to 4.5 to make it a little bit more relevant. And I've adjusted the amortization to 25 years. Okay. So what we're saying is that based on a 25-year amortization, 4.5% interest rate, and a $500,000 mortgage, our monthly payment is going to be about 2,700 or $2,800. Okay. This is a calculation based in Excel using the PMT formula. Okay, so as you can see right now, what's going to happen is every single month, I'm going to be paying 1,800 in interest alone, okay, to the bank, and I'm going to be paying about $900 in principal to the bank. Okay, so this is just an amortization schedule. You can get this from your mortgage agent or from your bank. Okay, they'll be able to provide it for you. If you already have an existing mortgage and you're into it, if you look into some of your old documents, this should be in there somewhere. They have to share this with you. Okay. So every single month you're paying about $1,800 in interest. So you could see this number going down here, going going down, and you could see the principal number going up a little bit. So $904, 907, 910. So as you can see, most of your um, amount is going towards your monthly interest. Okay. So let me just see here. Did this, oh, you know what? Let me go back here because I want to show you what this chart looks like. So this one here, so I'm just going to go back and adjust this here. Okay. So the thing I want to show you on this chart, which is super amazing to see. Okay. You see this arrow line here where you are crossing the pink line, which is your interest, and it's starting at one number and going down. And then you've got this dark blue line, and that's going up. Okay. This is pointing roughly to around year 9. Okay. So between year 9 and year 10. Okay. What this chart is telling me, what this graph is telling me, and I'll make this bigger here. Okay. Is that until my year 9, most of my payment is actually going towards interest, this pink line. I don't actually start paying more to my principal until year 9. Okay. So that means if you move and sell your house because you got a new job or you have to move because of whatever reason, if you sell before this year 9, you have barely made a dent in your mortgage. Okay, just some food for thought there. Okay, so let's just say now we're back on this table here because I want to show you what $1,000 a month will do to your interest payments. Okay, in terms of saving interest. Okay, over time until you get to your $21,000 that you need. Okay, so let's just say here. Okay, so your monthly interest is 1,800 every single month going, and then it's decreasing every single month, right? In total, okay, you're going to be paying $333,000 for your $500,000 mortgage. Okay. So this is one of the myths about your mortgage is that my mortgage is 500,000. I pay 500,000 to the bank. Nuh-uh. You are paying 500,000 plus 333,000. So you're paying $833,000 for your $500,000 mortgage. Yeah. I hope you're sitting down for that because when I tell that to a lot of people, they're like, no, no, that doesn't make any sense. I only took out a mortgage for 500,000. Okay. No, no, no. You took out a mortgage for 500,000, but now you're paying $833,000 for that $500,000 mortgage. Okay. So your mortgage, your home of 500,000 is costing you one and a half houses. That's the way to look at it. Okay. So keep in mind that it's 333 okay, $1,000 that you're paying in interest. Okay, so let me just make sure that this went all the way down, yeah, to 318, which is all the way down. Yeah, see, so we're down here at 318 here, where it's 25 years. Okay, perfect. So that formula is correct. Okay, so let's go back to the top here, and let's just say you're able to save $1,000. Rather than putting it into a savings account, you just dump it right against your mortgage. Okay, so that $1,000 decreases your principal with the bank. Okay. And so now instead of paying, let's see here, your ending balance is going to be 499,000. You're now at 498. Okay. That $1,000 that you made went directly to the principal. It doesn't hit the interest. Okay. Because you're already paying your 2,700 to principal and interest, and then you're doing an extra 1,000. Okay, and you're allowed to do this. Okay, extra 1,000 every pay. Actually, you can go all the way up to 2,700. Okay, but let's just say you're just doing the 1,000. Okay, now look at this. Because you've put in that 1,000, the amount of interest that you've saved over your 25 years is actually $1,121,000. 1,121. So you've actually saved 112%. Okay. This is way more than the 5% that you're earning on a high interest savings account or a GIC. Okay. So let's just say the next month you have another 1,000. Okay. You go put that in. Okay. So now what you're doing is you're decreasing your principal amount faster. Okay. And this is one of the ways to do your mortgage freedom in 10 years, which reminds me. Okay, here it is. If you don't have this book, okay, this is a book I wrote on how to be mortgage free in 10 years. Okay. And we talk about this idea about putting $1,000 against your mortgage. That's one of the ideas that's in this book. Okay. So, all right. So let's just go back. Sorry, I'm like going all over the place here. So let's just say now you continue this and we get to your $21,000. Okay. So we're at 17%, sorry, 17,000 here. So we're going to go a couple more. Okay, so here now we've got your $21,000 saved up. It's taken you about 21 months to get there, which is fine. Okay, so now what we're doing here is compare this amount here. So the amount of interest that you've actually saved, okay, is $22,000. Okay, it's not a big, huge savings, but you've actually saved 107% because now this 21,000 that you've put in is right against the principal. That's against your own pocket. Okay. Also the interesting thing is now this 21,000 decreased the total interest that you've paid. So instead of paying $333,000 in interest, you've paid 311,000. Okay. So that's gone down by $22,000. Okay. So because you've put in your 21,000 over a period of time at $1,000, you've actually saved all of that plus a little bit extra, okay, to decrease how much money is actually going towards the interest on your mortgage. Okay. So now the interest is that different. So now instead of your home costing you 833, it's costing you $811,000. Okay. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is now this money, this $21,000 is now sitting in your HELOC. It's available in your HELOC if you have a readvanceable HELOC. Okay. So just make sure that you have a readvanceable HELOC. There's different HELOC products out there. You want the readvanceable one. Okay. So that is so now what's going to happen is this 21,000 sits available in your HELOC. Okay, so let's go back to that other calculation here. Okay, so now let's just say it was the 3 months here. We have $21,000. Now, if your HELOC is charging you, let's just say 6%. Okay. And this is a per year thing, right? So now let's just say you have to take out this $21,000, and you need all of it right away. Okay. For whatever. You're going to take your 21,000 times your 6%, divide that by 12. That is $105 a month that you have to pay in interest to the bank per month. Okay. So this is just interest only. Okay. Whoop, I think I lost that H somewhere. Okay. So this is your interest payment per month. Okay. Until you can pay that 21,000 back. Okay. So let's just say now you need to have this money out for 12 months because you're going through something and you need 12 months of grace period here. Okay. So you're going to borrow your 21,000 out. You're going to take it out, go do what you need to it. It's going to give you the breathing space, give you time to get back on your feet, find a new job, deal with whatever emergency is actually happening to you. Okay. So now this 12 months of money, it's going to cost you $1,200, $1,260. Okay. So that is why, like this potential cost of 1,200 doesn't compare to you being able to save $22,000 on your mortgage because you don't have to pay that now in interest. Like it's so much more better use of your money than dumping it against your principal. Okay. Now you might be thinking, well, Hung, you know what? This is over a 25-year period. Okay. And you're right. So let's just say we take this 25,000, sorry, this 22,000 divided by your 25 years that you have. Okay. That's $899 per year that you're saving automatically. Okay. So you're saving, okay, just from that 1 year, you're not saving as much, but over time, you're saving $900 a year because of this strategy here. Okay. So something to think about. Now, you might also be thinking, well, Hung, it's my $1,000 that went in there. Yes, it is your $1,000 that went in there. But rather than having it sit in a savings account earning only 5%, okay, you're putting it right against your mortgage and leveraging, right against your mortgage and leveraging it. Okay. The other thing to consider too is that if you're not able to get a mortgage, like if your mortgage rate is lower, okay, or if it's higher, okay, for some people, like because we're doing private lending and so forth like that, our mortgage might be 9%. Okay, our mortgage might be 7%. Okay, so in that case, it does change the payments quite a bit. Okay, so are we at 7? No, that did not change it here. Okay, so I had originally got this tied over here. Okay, so when you do that, oh, where did it go? Okay, by putting in if your interest rate is 7% and you are able to put $1,000 against your mortgage, you're actually saving $35,000 in interest, even though you're only putting $21,000 in. Okay, so what this is telling me, and hopefully to you, is that as your interest rates go up on your mortgage and the delta between those, the bigger that gap is, then you're going to see more of a savings. Okay, so it is the holidays, so I'm going to end it there. Thank you everybody for watching. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. I spend all day, every day looking at numbers and helping fellow investors and families pay down their mortgage, which is why I wrote the book, okay, Path to Mortgage Freedom in 10 Years. And if you want to reach out to Thank You Media, okay, at Time, they are a great resource to help real estate investors grow their business. Now, if you're thinking, Hung, I'm a real estate investor, I don't have a business, you are so wrong on that. As a real estate investor, your real estate is your business. Okay. So operate it like a business. Okay. So check out time. There you go. All right. Thank you, everybody. My last wishes to everybody for watching. May 2024 end on a wonderful note for you. And may 2025 be as prosperous and healthy and safe for you as possible. Thank you so very much, everybody, for helping me make my 2024 a wonderful year and being so supportive of the work that I do. Thank you, everybody. Have a great holiday.